This is Ask a Couples Counsellor, a show that answers all the relationship questions you're too afraid to ask. On the show, we'll take your questions and give you the tools you need to build trust and intimacy with your partner. I'm your host, Neha Kapoor. I'm a registered clinical counsellor and psychotherapist, and I'm really passionate about helping couples navigate the challenges that we all go through. Because after all, every relationship encounters some stormy weather now and then. Hello and welcome to Ask a Couples Counsellor. Today, we're diving into the invisible forces that shape every relationship. Why we chase, why we pull away, and why some connections feel magnetic even when they leave us frustrated or heartbroken. We'll explore attachment styles, uncover the patterns running through your love life, and show how awareness can transform old habits into conscious, thriving intimacy. By the end of this episode, you'll see that the way you love isn't fixed. It's a starting point, and the power to change it is in your hands. All right, let's get into it. Our first question for today comes from Paul in Sydney. Let's have a listen to Paul's question.
What are the different attachment styles and why do we develop them?
That's a great question, Paul. Attachment styles are not just theory. They're the lens through which we see love, intimacy, and connection. They're the echoes of how we were loved or not loved when we were children, and they follow us into every adult relationship. Some people carry a secure attachment, the kind of people who feel safe with closeness, who can trust and be trusted, who know how to ask for what they need without fear. They had caregivers who were there, consistent, attuned to them. They learned, I'm worthy of love and others can be trusted. Others develop an anxious attachment. They crave closeness, they fear abandonment, and sometimes it can feel like a push-pull in relationships. Why? Because as children, the people they relied on were inconsistent, sometimes loving, sometimes distant. That child inside them learned to chase, to overgive, to hyper-focus on approval because safety felt conditional. Then there's the avoidant attachment, where people prize independence and distance themselves from deep emotional intimacy. Often these are the children whose caregivers were emotionally unavailable or dismissive. They learned early on that depending on others was risky, so the safest place to be was self-reliant. And sometimes the picture is even more complicated. Fearful avoidant attachment, or also known as disorganized attachment, where someone deeply desires love but simultaneously fears it. Relationships feel confusing, chaotic, and even dangerous. This often comes from trauma or unpredictable care in childhood. Love is both the thing they crave and the thing they fear the most. And these attachment styles aren't your destiny. They're survival strategies that once kept you safe. So I would say awareness is power. When we see our patterns, when we recognize how our style interacts with the partners, we can begin to make conscious choices to communicate differently, to show up differently, and to rewrite how love looks like in our lives. Because at the end of the day, your attachment style is not who you are. It's what you learned about love as a child. And the remarkable truth is, as an adult, you get to choose to love differently, better, and more consciously. I hope that answers your question, Paul. Our second question for today comes from Melinda in Sydney. Let's have a listen to Melinda's question.
I dated someone who told me they're an avoidant, and the push-pull just rinsed my entire nervous system. I felt super on edge the entire time that we dated. Is this typical?
You know, Melinda, I see this pattern all the time in my practice, and it's almost hypnotic in how predictable it is. Anxiously attached people and avoidantly attached people end up together. At first glance, it might seem like a disaster waiting to happen, and often it is. But there's a psychological gravity behind it. Here's why. Anxious people crave closeness, intimacy, and reassurance. Their hearts are wired to seek connection, to ask, to reach, to push for security. And avoidant people, on the other hand, fear being engulfed, they protect themselves by pulling away, by creating space, by shutting down emotionally. So the universe, or more accurately, the mind, has a kind of magnetic logic here. Opposites attract in exactly the way our childhoods programmed us. The anxious person's intensity triggers the avoidance pull. The avoidance distance triggers the anxious person's chase. So it's like an endless loop, a dance choreographed by years of internalized fear and longing. I've seen it hundreds of times in my practice. Couples come to me exhausted, frustrated, heartbroken, yet secretly addicted to the tension because it feels familiar. It mirrors the very attachment pattern they learned as children: the push, the pull, the unpredictability of love. And that unpredictability is ironically exactly what feels like home. The truth is, it's not bad luck. It's biology and psychology colliding. It's not that they're incompatible. It's that their attachment styles are mirror reflections of each other's unmet needs. The anxious wants closeness they fear they'll never get. The avoidant wants distance they fear they can't maintain. So together, they live in spaces between longing and retreat. And the cycle keeps repeating until someone becomes conscious of it. This is why awareness is everything. Once they see the loop of what it is, once they understand that their patterns are echoes of childhood strategies, they have a choice. They can break the dance, learn how to respond instead of react, and finally create intimacy without chaos. Because these pairings aren't doomed, they're just unhealed. And once healed, they can become the most transformative, deeply connected partnerships you'll ever witness. I hope that answers your question, Melinda. Our last question for today comes from Sam in Victoria. Let's have a listen to Sam's question.
I've heard about attachment style. Is that something that could change over time, or is it something that can change depending on your relationship you're in?
Wow, what a brilliant question, Sam. That's exactly the kind of curiosity that can transform a relationship. Can your attachment style change over time? Yes. Can it shift depending on the relationship you're in? The short answer is yes, but the long answer is where it gets fascinating. Attachment styles aren't fate, they're patterns, learned strategies we carried from childhood to protect ourselves. But here's the thing, adults are not static. Our brains, our hearts, our nervous systems are capable of learning, adapting, and healing. The right relationship, the one that consistently shows safety, attunement, and respect, can literally teach an anxious person to feel secure or help an avoidant person trust intimacy without fear. Conversely, a relationship that triggers old wounds can pull even a securely attached person into anxious or avoidant behaviors temporarily. It's not about failure. It's about the environment shaping how we show up in love. In my practice, I've seen people make radical shifts once they become aware of their patterns and have partners willing to meet them halfway. I've watched anxious people learn to pause instead of chase, and avoidant people learn to stay instead of retreat. And here's what's truly incredible. Once someone experiences this kind of safety repeatedly, it rewires the brain. Neural pathways that once screamed, "I'm not safe, I can't trust," slowly quiet down, replaced by pathways that say, "I can lean in, I can be seen, I can be loved." So yes, attachment styles can change, but only when we combine awareness, willingness, and consistent practice. That's why therapy, intentional relationships, and even personal reflections are so powerful. They don't just help you survive love, they help you evolve into someone who can experience intimacy fully, without fear or defense. Your attachment style is not your identity, it's your starting point. And the remarkable, empowering part, you have the power to rewrite it moment by moment, relationship by relationship, until the love you experience feels safe, sturdy, and real. And trust me, that kind of transformation, that's nothing short of extraordinary in my opinion. I hope that answers your question, Sam. All right, that's it for today's deep dive into attachment, love, and the patterns that shape how we connect. Remember this, your attachment style isn't who you are. It's just where you start. Awareness gives you the power to rewrite the story, to break the loops, and to create the love you've always wanted. Every relationship is a chance to show up differently, to heal, and to grow. So go out there, lean in, stay curious, and make your love conscious. Until next time, keep choosing connection. And before I go, if you have any burning questions you want answered, send them to novoempowercounselling@gmail.com. Let's navigate this journey together, because better relationships start with understanding. I can't wait to hear from you. You've been listening to Ask a Couples Counselor, a show that answers all the relationship questions you're too afraid to ask. This show is produced by Novo Empower Counselling. We provide a range of services, including couples counselling, individual counselling, and online counselling. To find out more, visit our website novoempowercounselling.com.au. This show was produced with strategy and production support from Wavelength Creative. To make sure you don't miss an episode of Ask a Couples Counselor, be sure to subscribe to or follow the show in your podcast app. And while you're there, I'd love it if you could leave me a 5-star review. It really helps others find the show. I'm your host, Neha Kapoor, and I'll see you in the next episode.